Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. Oh man, microplastics are becoming a part of our everyday lexicon, and that's a good thing, because what we're realizing that it causes all kind of hormone disruptions. Now, the World Economic Forum posted something on Facebook the other day on how much it says how we eat, drink, and breathe microplastics. Average number of microplastic particles found per gram, per liter, per cubic meter. Of selected consumables. Okay, so there's different things that we eat, and they're full of microplastics. And how many pieces of microplastics do we find on average in these things per liter? Right? How many grams of microplastics per liter? So in bottled water, there's 94.37. Wait a minute. Is that number of particles or the grams? Okay. I can only read, it sounds terrible when you say that's grams per liter, because 94 grams is like 3 ounces. So, and a liter is not a lot. So that this number must be particles. Okay, so this number must be particles per if it's per cubic meter. Oh my gosh, something's wrong. Whoever wrote these units needs to learn scientific method, or anyhow, whatever. So we're gonna base it on the assumption that it's number of microplastic particles per liter, because the way how they wrote the units is incorrect in my opinion, and I'm not the best. I'm terrible at math. So there's 94.37 particles per liter in bottled water. So that would take you you have to drink 3 bottles of bottled water, and you'll have 94 little particles in it. Go ahead, man. Beer. There's 32.27 microplastic particles in a liter of beer. And in the air, there's 9.80 microplastic particles that you breathe in through the air. And in your tap water, there's 4.24 microplastic particles per liter of tap water. And in seafood, there's I can't see it because I'm driving, 1.48 microplastic particles per liter of fish in volume, right? So that shows that fish doesn't have too much in it, but fish got other stuff in it like mercury and hormones and birth control hormones, progesterone, and who knows what else. And I maybe read this wrong, but you can go on the World Economic Forum's Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure I hope they would have put it on their Instagram page, but it's definitely on their Facebook page. So the number one source that we consume microplastic particles from, according to this chart, and I think it's just where they looked, is in bottled water. So that's not that doesn't give me a good feeling. But it's not so much microplastic particles in your tap water. Your tap water is not so bad. Your tap water is not so bad, but your bottled water is bad. Which, this deserves a little more analysis, and it's probably a little deeper than this, because spring water, is it the container? Is it the spring water? Is it the source of the water? Is it the reverse osmosis systems that have polymer membranes that are putting the microplastics in there? Is it, what is it? It could go a little deeper than this. don't think you should stop drinking bottled water, because where else are you going to get clean water to drink? You could drink well water, but I don't know about that. I don't know, the well water quality that you get from your yard, if you have a well in your yard, it might not even be filtered that well either. Now, in my home, I have a whole house filter, which is basically a filter element that you install in the line coming into the house. It's not really necessary for me to filter the whole house, because I really shouldn't filter the washing machine. I really shouldn't filter the garden hose outside pipe. I really shouldn't filter maybe the shower. But I definitely want to filter the water in the kitchen. So you don't really need a whole house filter. You just need a filter in the kitchen where you get your cooking water and stuff like that, which I think I might just move to that, doing that, because it restricts the flow in my pipes. But I'm still glad for it. I didn't necessarily need to install it, but whatever. I just changed the filter after maybe 2 months the other day, and it was totally brown. It was white. It was white as, I don't know, chalk. And then when I took it out, it was brown as rust. So the municipalities, they do their best, but of course, the pipes deteriorate, the pipes rust. By the time the water travels miles and miles and miles and miles and miles through metal pipes, there's a little bit of deterioration. Now, what the city does is use pipes that are cement lined, so the cement kind of provides a layer of protection to prevent the rust from getting into the water service. But it's not a perfect system, but they do a very good job, as much as they can do, as efficiently as they can do. Is my car shutting off? No. So what can we do about the microplastics? I don't know what much we could do, because we need to drink water, and you can put some filters in your house, but filters aren't necessarily going to get out microplastics, right? Filters aren't necessarily going to take out microplastics. Anyhow, I don't really have much else to say about that, but I just wanted to share that information that I saw. Oh, but look at the title of the World Economic Forum's post. It says, you know what? I'm not going to read that part. I don't want to read that part because there may be some political ramifications for me reading that part. But just to share with you, microplastics: water, then beer, then the air you breathe, tap water, seafood. But I don't know if these are the top contributors to our ingestion of microplastics. Let's see here. Based on the American diet, there's a caveat down here. Based on the American diet, including via inhalation and water consumption, bottle or tap, figures are likely underestimates. Source: human consumptions of microplastics. Cox et al., Environmental Science and Technology, 2019. This study was done in 2019. Estimated annual microplastic particles consumed per person between 78,000 and 211,000. Estimated annual. So in a year we consume between 78,000 and 211,000 microplastic particles. Right? Now, plastic does not deteriorate. Plastic does not dissolve. Plastic really doesn't erode. It just becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Whether it's it just becomes smaller and smaller. It doesn't go back. It doesn't break down into something that the body can use. It just becomes something that the body detects is there, It can cross cell barriers after it gets small enough. And then, it gets so small, it just like, you just live with it, basically. I guess you live with it. So that's it's kind of spooky, but I don't think it's anything we can worry about. Back in the days, people we started using asbestos. Asbestos is something that was being used from almost ancient times, from my understanding. And then only in the 1950s is when we discovered that asbestos is no good for your lungs. And it can cause mesothelioma, which is a lung cancer. It doesn't break down. You can't get it out of your body. Whenever you do construction work, licensed construction work in New York, you have to test for asbestos before you begin. Before you disturb anything, you got to check for asbestos, because it has the potential. It's friable, or whatever they call it, because that means it just flies all over the place. It flies all over the place and it gets into everything, and you can't get rid of it. I mean, it doesn't dissolve, whatever. I think lead might not be so bad. Lead, your body may be able to deal with it and metabolize it, but if it gets in your brain, it kind of messes up your brain. Somebody's doing an art installation, or there's a lady here doing an art installation, it seems. I don't know what she's doing, but she's just standing up, talking to somebody, talking to an imaginary person. Oh, there's a woman on the corner talking to an imaginary figure. She has on a blonde wig, short shorts, and like an exercise shirt. She could be rehearsing her lines, because that's how I used to rehearse my lines when I was in theater. Talk to myself. It looked like I was talking to myself, but I was just doing my lines. So she could be doing some artistic exercises. Anyhow, leave people alone, man. Get away from people. Stay away from people. It's a young woman too. She can't be more than 20-something, 30-something years old. Mental illness is also on the rise. There's an article on that. Let me talk about that article here. Let's see if I can get to it. Where is it? I was going through all my tabs that I have on the thing here. Mental illness is on the rise. Where is it? What can you absorb? No, it's in my email. So just give me a second. Let me go in my email. Come over here. Do this. Wait for this to open. Still taking very long. Mail. Let's see here. Where is it? I sent it to myself either last night or maybe the day before. Okay, that didn't work. Okay. Here we go. Where is it? Here we go. Mental illness is up. That's what I tagged it. So it says neurological disorders becoming more common worldwide. Very concerning. MSN.com. So this is another reason why I say stay away from people. People are struggling. They don't know what they're doing, what they're saying, what's going on with them. I just told you I just drove by a lady that... I'm in a rural residential area. I'm near the swamp, actually. People exercise not too far away from here. Anyhow. Oh, this is from Newsweek. Newsweek. Very concerning. Neurological study finds disorders increasing worldwide. Let's see. Expand the article. Neurological disorders are becoming more common worldwide. A new study has found. The number of people living and dying with such conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, other dementias, meningitis, and stroke has risen substantially over the past 3 decades. An international collaborations... Okay, somebody needs to write their grammar properly. An international collaboration of researchers reported. Their analysis revealed that in October 2021, 3.4 billion people suffered from a neurological condition. 3.4 billion. There's only 8 billion people on the earth. That's more than a third. That's like 40%. That's like, close to 40% of the earth is living with a neurological condition. You hear what I'm saying? The analysis revealed that in 2021, 3.4 billion people suffered from a neurological condition. This is roughly 43% of the world's entire population. Okay, I didn't have to do the calculation. They did it. The study attributes the increase in these disorders to both the aging global population as well as a concurrent increase in lifestyle risk factors. The team found that an 18% increase in disability, illness, and premature death caused by these conditions over a 31-year period. The most common neurological health disorders in 2021 were found to be stroke, brain injury, Alzheimer's disease, and other dementias, migraines, nerve damage, meningitis, epilepsy, autism spectrum disorder, and nervous system cancers. The researchers also found that cognitive decline following COVID-19 accounted for losses of healthy life in 2021. The new study greatly emphasizes the need for more research into these conditions. However, neurological conditions are famously hard to treat. Because many neurological conditions lack cures and access to medical care is often limited, understanding modifiable risk factors and the potentially avoidable neurological condition burden is essential to help curb this global health crisis. Co-lead author Katrin Sheeher. Okay, listen, I'm driving now. I can't read it. All right, I'm sorry. Can't read it anymore because I'm driving pretty fast. There's no traffic today. I guess everybody decided not to go to work. So it says I call it mental illnesses up. They say neurological disorders, which include stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, meningitis, even, your brain. Like the brain is getting damaged. And I just spoke about microplastics. Those things don't go away. They just break down into smaller particles. They can pass the blood-brain barrier. They're finding microparticles in fetuses. They're finding microparticles everywhere, which is very sad. I have another article that I would like to read if you just give me a moment. Okay, this is another thing. Why is this message marked as spam? This is from me. Okay. You know why? Because that email address that I sent it from ended up on some hackers list. The hackers have compromised my email address, and it seems like maybe they're sending out emails with my email address. I don't know what's going on. So it says, new study reveals prevalence of female psychopathy. Psychopathy. Okay? New study reveals prevalence of female psychopathy. And the name of the news broadcaster or the news publisher is State of the Union. Okay? So let's read. A study presented at Cambridge suggests the prevalence of female psychopathy may be underestimated. While typically thought to be 6 times more common in men, the researcher believes gender bias has obscured accurate rates. Interviewing reports and analyzing prior work, he found women display psychopathic traits differently than men, making them less likely to be identified. Specifically, female psychopaths tend to be more manipulative and deceitful while appearing caring. They also rely more on words than violence. This is something that we know. Accounting for these factors, the study estimates the actual gender ratio is closer to 1.2 males for every one female, not 6 times. Female, up to 5 times higher than believed. So, female psychopathy is 5 times higher than believed. They thought that men were 6 times more likely to be psychopaths. It's actually, they're only 1.2 times more. So they're only 20% more likely, which means it's almost the same, right? And the way women exercise it is not through violence, but through manipulation. And they pretend to be caring, but they're actually psychopaths. Dr. Clive Boddy said, this has implications for risk assessment in criminal justice and organizational leadership selection, which currently presume women are more honest and empathic. Okay, so gender bias is making us believe that women are more honest and more empathic, and as a result, this has caused difference in outcomes when it comes to cases in court. So it's affecting the safety of everybody in the public, basically. So it's very I don't know what to say about it, because whatever I say is going to sound like I'm funding or I'm fueling the gender war, which is not something that I like to do. I don't want to encourage a gender war. What this tells us is that men and women are the same in certain kind of ways when it comes to manipulation, but the only difference is that women use words more than they use violence, and a man is more likely to use violence. But we know statistically, in 70% of domestic violence cases, women hit first. So, I think there's still some gender role bias here. The men definitely hit harder, so that's probably why, the optics of the whole thing is a little skewed towards the woman as the victim. So that's understandable. But hey, we're getting there. Let's see, we're getting there regarding understanding how people are, but let's end the gender war. Let's not fight each other. Men and women need each other. Yin and yang, One plus one is 3. or sometimes more if you use fertility treatments. So, thank you for listening.